Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Larry Wiles reporting news live. I had a privilege to be in the trial, the courtroom of Dawnta Harris trial. Today was the jury selection, right? And the trial was started. The case was presented. Attorney Warren Brown and J. Wendell Gordon was the attorney for the young man. I believe he's 16 years old, and he was charged. He charged with several counts. It was like I was in the trial room. I was in the courtroom. And I'm just like, okay. The young man was walking. The police pulled him up. He was so far away they assumed that he did the crime. They also said that they were looking for a guy with short hair, but he had long hair. It was so much what's going on. It was so much what's going on that I had the privilege of just listening to Attorney Warren Brown and J. Wendell Gordon to cross-examine the police officers. For instance, one time, J. Wendell Gordon said how, because one of the officers, right, was in there on the stand saying that he was in academy with the officer who died, and even though it was a bullet hole, I believe it was down somewhere down, right, and he was saying, are y'all trained to stop a car and stand in front of the car and stop it, or shield yourself on the side? All that was talked about when J. Wendell Gordon was saying what happened. And another thing, right, when they was giving, first aid, like pressing on the ribs, and if your ribs already was fractured, to press down on your ribs again, it could cause some damage. So he also was saying y'all should have been there, folks. Tomorrow, the trial will start again in Towson, courtroom 16 courtroom on the 4th floor. It wasn't that many African American in the courtroom. If I'm not mistaken, I counted about maybe 3, 4 on the jury selection. The family probably had about a good maybe 4 black African American people, and also me and another gentleman was there. So basically, it was like, y'all going in the store?
Yeah, I'm going. Come on.
Go ahead, I'll be in there. I don't have anything. Alright. So, folks, it was about a good, I'm gonna say me and another guy was there. Oh, bless me. So it was a handful of us was in the courtroom, and it was a lot of law enforcement in there. So once again, it was like J. Wendell Gordon, Warren Brown, they was like in the report. He said, "What you put in the report?" And then here's the key far as the guy who called the police, when he said that he saw Mr. Harris come in the parking lot, got out the car. And then when they went and locked him up or brought him back to the ID, and when the witness said that might have been him, and then the police said that's probably is him. So basically, they was kind of like putting words in the in the witness' mouth, saying that could have been him or was it him, you know. So Jay went to court and asked what he said. Did he say this? Did he say that? You know. So, you know. So that's how it is. But once again, I was in a trial, and they laying out all the facts, the evidence, what happened. Now the guy is charged with I think, is he charged with murder? I didn't get the charges, but I think they probably trying to get it down to manslaughter because when the officer shot through the front window, what it seems appear to be that maybe the guy dropped and he didn't intend to run the police over. So y'all just come on up and hear for yourself what's going on. I think they trying to give him life in jail, but the attorneys trying to get them at least manslaughter because they don't see that it was intent to kill the officer because the driver was ducking down. So if they get manslaughter, they probably get about 10 years. Oh, you can't hear? Hold up. So you mean to tell me I gotta do all this all over again? You mean to tell me nobody can hear me? Can't, wait, hold on. Let me see. Nope, OMG. Nobody can hear. Okay. So did y'all hear everything I said about when I was in the courtroom? When how the police could have stood in front of the car and shot through the window. That part. So basically y'all heard a lot. So once again they selected jury. It was me and what's his name, K. John, or another black guy, African American in the courtroom. Another African American in the courtroom. So basically it wasn't too many African American in there other than the gentleman family. And I believe it was like maybe 3 jury was African American. Warren Brown and J. Wender Gordon is doing an outstanding job as far as representing the gentleman, because one police said in his report that it was short cut hair, right? And the guy went to jail, he had like a bush. So that was brought to the attention. And then the guy was calm and wasn't resisting. Now when they had thought that the police got shot in the head and died. So when the police went and saw this Harris walking, even though if you found out that a police was shot in the head, that's the story they heard at first, and they seen the guy walking. The police did not draw a weapon on the kid or nothing. So they went to Gordon Warren Brown asked, why didn't you draw a weapon if he was calm? And it was like in all these years how if a person was shot, if he just what went over, they thought that the officer was shot in the head, so they was looking for somebody. So they didn't draw the weapons on the kid. They said the kid was, they said he was like cool, calm, and collective, wasn't trying to run. So, folks, I just, I'm going to go back tomorrow and sit in the courtroom from 9, I believe it was all the way from 9 to 5 again. But they laying out the facts. They laying out all the information. So, once again, they just in Towson Courtroom. Towson Courtroom, 401 Barnsley, courtroom 16 on the 4th floor. So, I don't know what else to say, folks. I know that walking while black, you can be a suspect at any given time. Not to say just that in the fourth, but I'm just saying if any crime should happen in any probably way in Baltimore County, if you're a black male, you're gonna be stopped. That's gonna be a factor of just being in the county. My condolences goes out to the family, the officer family, how that happened. My condolences goes out to any family that lost a loved one. Anybody, in any way or any form and fashion. But either way, this is just sad, folks. So I was in the courtroom today. I got there after noon, but tomorrow I'm gonna make it my business to be there early and give y'all some more update. So once again, thank y'all for joining me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. If J. Wendell Gordon wanna chime in, he can. If Warren Brown chime in, they can. But once again, the office was agreeing with the both of them. How, okay, this could have been this way, this could have been that way. So, yeah. So when they brought that boy back, Harris, to get ID if he was the one or not, the guy said, well, he could have been. He could have. So either you could have been or are you? And then the officer, it was kind of like mentioned that, yeah, that's him, So I leave it into the attorneys saying who did this, who did that. I wasn't there. I don't know who did what and what happened. I'm just here to look and check in and just sitting in. It might be a week, a long 1 or 2 week trial, to get all the facts and all the evidence. So once again, I'm Larry Wallace reporting News Live in Towson.